All right, it's 7 o'clock, so the Board of Trustees, Lamar Consolidated Independent School District is called to order. This is the regular board meeting being held on December 19th, 2019. We have a quorum with Ms. Bronzell not present as of yet. She's going to try to make it. We will open the meeting with our traditional moment of silence for you to observe as you feel appropriate. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think we have some recognition tonight, Dr. Randall.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. We do. We have some special young people to introduce to you tonight.
Good evening, Dr. Randall, members of the board. My name is Nikki Nelson, and I am the LCISD Director of Athletics. Tonight, it is my pleasure to introduce you to the 2019 Churchill-Fulshear High School varsity volleyball team, members and coaches who could join us tonight. While the entire team wanted to be here tonight, unfortunately, some of the players had a scheduling conflict and were not able to join us. It is truly remarkable that in just over 3 short years, the young ladies standing before you went from a brand new program to a playoff contender, let alone a state champion. Opening a brand new gym is a daunting task. Filling it with trophies and a winning legacy is almost impossible. Coach Sydney Gocher and assistant coach Rebecca Anderson have created a culture of excellence in their program in a very short time. The Chargers of Fulshear learned from their losses early and grew as a team. To claim the championship, they had to defeat the reigning state champion Needville Blue Jays, as well as 9-time state champions Belleville Brahminettes. When this year arrived, the Chargers were ready. In fact, the Chargers were so ready, they won every one of their playoff sets, finishing the postseason with a perfect 21-0 record. The 2019 Chargers started their season on August 6th and completed just under 50 matches over the course of that season on their way to a 45-4 record that culminated almost 4 months later on November 23rd when they defeated Hereford 3-0 in Garland, Texas on November 23rd to claim the 2019 4A UIL State Championship. Please join me in congratulating them on their truly remarkable accomplishment.
So exciting. Okay. Do we have any introductions tonight?
We do not, Madam President.
Okay. Audience to patrons? So we're going to move on to the approval of the minutes from last month. We have the November 19th, 2019 special meeting workshop. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes? You make a motion. Do I have a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They stand approved. Then we have the November 21st, 2019 regular board meeting. May I have a motion to approve those minutes? You make a motion? Do I have a second? Okay, I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Board reports. I figure we have quite a few of those because we've got a lot of meetings the last few days. So who would like to start? You'll start?
I can start.
Okay. Go ahead.
On December 17th, we had a board facilities committee meeting, and I'll give a brief rundown of what's going on in the district. The new maintenance and operations facility and the service center are ready to close out in early 2020. Tamaron Elementary School construction's underway and is scheduled for completion July 8th of 2020. On the 2017 bond, the synthetic turf and track projects, the final payment is on this board agenda. Multi-campus improvements project is complete. Final payment is on January's board, will likely be on January's board meeting agenda. Foster High School athletic improvements likely to be finalized in February. ALC additions and renovations, Jane Long Historical Gym renovations, and the transportation fuel tank replacement. The construction documents are being developed, and that should begin in June of 2020. Terry High School and George Junior High School design development is in progress. Lamar Consolidated High School and Lamar Junior High School design development is in progress. Multi-campus carpet replacement, design development for that, and the design development for that is on this board agenda, and that is a project for summer 2020. This building's exterior improvements, the design development is in process. The multi-purpose space and orchestra middle school additions, the summer 2020 project, the design development is in process. The facilities assessment and long-range plan, we received an update at the workshop on Tuesday, and we should receive the final product in March. Randall High School and Wright Junior High School construction is 23% complete, and it's on schedule. And the Trailer Stadium press box project is scheduled to be complete in August of 2020, and they're going to start construction over the holidays.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? You want to go ahead? Yes.
The Family and Community Engagement Committee update. We met this week to finalize details for the upcoming community conversations, which is what they're going to be called. We'll be hosting in each color track during the spring semester. District administrators work with campuses to create a list of available dates for the meetings. From that list, on Tuesday, the Family and Community Engagement Committee provided board members with a hard copy of the final recommendation for the 5 community conversation dates. If there is no other feedback regarding these dates, all meeting dates will be finalized and scheduled tomorrow. We'll then start working with the district to promote these meetings throughout the community in January.
All right.
Technology. We met this afternoon, and quite a bit going on, but we do have 2 items that are on the agenda for tonight. The first one is an item to purchase security camera storage as well as secure backup storage. The district has outgrown the network storage solution for our security camera storage, and the other item is the secure backup storage in an effort to more securely secure the backups. The other item is the iPad refresh. Approximately 4,000 of the district's 14,914 iPads will need to be replaced, and this project is to be funded under the 2017 bond.
Thank you. Now, there was an ABC and a policy. Is there anything to report from either one of those committee meetings? No, not really.
We just went over what we're going to be voting on this
Okay.
evening.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right, myself, I have a few little updates. On December 4th, the Lamar CISD Safety and Security Committee met, and as of last legislative session, they have now placed the president and one other board member on that committee. So myself and Ms. Ronzell are on that committee. And we met, and I think we'll meet 4 times a year. And one of what came out of it that I was impressed with, and I'd already seen one video but not the other, and I think this is something we can look into for our parent group meetings, that there was 2 videos, and one was informative about the security and how the security is handled on our district, and the other one was standard response protocol, and they gave us this little pamphlet, and it's not only is it the wording and the protocol of all the different when anything happens on a campus, but it's the same one they said that's happening on other districts and other parts of Texas too, and probably around the country, so that a student who learns it and knows to go and what to do, and it's very uniform, which is what we want, so that they're not having to go into a new school and go, now what do I do when I hear that noise, or what do I do when they say this word. So anyway, we'll be meeting 4 times a year, but those couple of videos might be something we might want to look into. And I don't know why they choose me, because I can't spell worth a darn, but I'm a judge for the spelling bee at Bowie this past week, and took over 30 rounds to find a winner, and the same little girl that won the year before won, and we were all very proud of all the students that participated. Then on Monday, Westendorf Middle School has a tutorial program that the students earn little tickets that they collect through the whole semester, and then that teacher provides where they get to go shopping. Well, Epsilon Omega, which is part of Delta Kappa Gamma Honorary Teacher Society, we did a grant and was able to get money to help with that program and help buy a lot of the materials, the things that the students could purchase. And then there were many members that came in and volunteered, and then we wrote thank you notes and congratulation notes to every parent of all the 50 students that went shopping, so the parents were able to hear what a wonderful job the student had done and earned this activity, which I appreciate that the members of the Epsilon Omega chapter were able to do this, because a lot of times those students don't get to go home, or the parents don't get to hear the exciting news that they are working hard in school. And then this afternoon, well, all day today, Pink Elementary had shopping for all 600 students. They got to choose up to 4 people to go shopping for Christmas. And the Friends of North Richmond, the Friends of Vince, and the Nary's Promise, they collaborated together, plus with the Fort Bend County Retired Educators Association, shopped, begged for gifts, and every child did go home with a bag full of items that they could use as Christmas presents. And many of the retired teachers from this district were there helping today, along with those other organizations. And I thank those teachers, or retired teachers too, for doing that. It always takes a village, and it impresses me every time I go into these schools to see how many people from the outside come in to help our young people, and I do want to thank them at this time. And that's all I've got. And now we're superintendent reports.
I do not have any reports, Madam President.
Okay. So we are going to open a public hearing at this time. It's 7:14 for our financial integrity rating systems of Texas.
Good evening.
I'm pleased to report this year's annual Financial Accountability Management Report under Schools First for the year ending August 31st, 2018. First of all, the goals of School First, there are several. The primary goal is to achieve quality performance in the financial management of the school district's finances. There are a couple of supplemental goals. One is to measure our performance using uniform indicators, and second, to improve transparency. Changes are made periodically to the rating system under Commissioner of Education rule. The 2017-18 system has 15 indicators in the areas of critical, solvency, and financial competence, and this year's rating was released on October 31st. The requirements under the system, first of all, we're required to prepare an annual report. The report has to include certain mandated things. First of all, the district's performance on all of the indicators, and then comparisons to previous year's ratings. A copy of the superintendent's current employment contract and other information, and then a supplementary schedule for the fiscal year of reimbursements received by the superintendent and each board member, gifts received from vendors by board members, the superintendent, executive officers, and their immediate families, and business transactions between board members and the school district. We can also include other descriptive information as deemed appropriate by the district or the board. The rating worksheet is as you see there. You can receive a rating of an A, B, C, or F. There are ratings on each critical indicator, which there are 5 of those. An answer on any one of those 5 of no immediately results in an F, or substandard achievement. The maximum score available is 100 points, and then you'll see the different rankings. 90 to 100 is an A or superior, and so on and so forth. The 5 critical indicators are shown on this slide, and just to break those down in a little bit simpler fashion, the 5th indicator was not scored this year, but indicator 1 wants to ensure that we have completed our annual financial report, the one that's audited, and submitted to TEA by the deadline. Number 2 has 2 parts. Did we get a clean or unmodified opinion? And then also, did the auditor report that we had any instances of material weaknesses in internal control over financial reporting and compliance with local, state, or federal funds? Indicator 3 is whether we're in compliance with the payment terms of all of our debt agreements, which are our bond covenants. Indicator 4 is whether the school district made timely payments to the TRS, the IRS, and other government agencies, as you see there. So for us, all the answers were yes this year. Next, under the solvency indicators, there are 7 of those, indicators 6 through 12, and they measure the district's ability to meet its debt and other obligations. We're going to look at 3 of those tonight. First of all is the current ratio, which you're probably familiar with, and that's the measure of current assets to current liabilities, and it's to ensure that we have sufficient resources to pay our short-term debt. The target for TEA is a ratio of 3.0 or more, and our current ratio is 9.3625, so we have a very good ratio there. Indicator 8 is the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets, and this is to ensure that districts can support their long-term solvency, and so this is the financial leverage ratio. So it indicates what portion of the total assets are financed by long-term debt, and it should be less than 0. The lower the better. Ours is 0.93, but we also fall under the fast growth district exception, where if you have enrollment growth that exceeds 7% or more over 5 years, you automatically pass this one and get the full points. And our enrollment growth rate for the last 5 years is actually 18.6%, so we would pass that either way. Indicator 10 is whether the debt service coverage ratio is sufficient to meet our debt service. To get full points for this indicator, the debt service coverage ratio needs to be a 1.2 or greater, and ours is 1.5139. There are 3 financial competence indicators, and they measure the district's skills, knowledge, and data quality, and those are indicators 13 through 15, and I'd like to cover indicators 13 and 14. First of all, number 13 has to do with our data quality. And so they're comparing whether the information we submit to the state and other governments through PEMS is similar in nature, or the numbers basically match between what we submit through PEMS and what we present in our paper or our electronic financial reports. It has to be less than a 3% variation, and ours is actually less than 1%, so it's 0.0017%, so we're very close on our data. Indicator 14 is whether the auditor reported whether or not we had any material noncompliance in our grants, contracts, and laws related to local, state, or federal funds. And, of course, we had no instances of material noncompliance. So through all of the years of this system, we always show, what we've done in the past and what we've got currently. So this year we also received superior achievement, and we had a score of 100 points. And with that, that's our report.
All right, at this time we will entertain any questions or comments, either from the board or from the audience. If someone wants to have a question or comment. Seeing none?
We can make a comment?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. That's amazing.
Yes.
It's a district achievement.
Well, to everyone. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes.
We're very proud of it. Thank you.
It's very exciting to see such good news. Thank you very much. So I will close, the public hearing now at 7:22. We will move forward to forming a consent agenda. If you have no, let me do I'll call you. Okay. At this time, if there is an action item you wish to be pulled, please notify me and I will. Oh, Ms. Bronzell has arrived.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Okay, and now she's on record. Okay, got you on record. Okay. Action item, goal planning A1, A2, A3,
Full, please.
A4, A5, we will put on consent agenda and go back and read it. A6, we're going to pull that.
Full, please.
Yes. A7, A8, A9, A10, A11, A12, A13, A13, okay. A14, B1, B2. So our consent agenda at this time will be A1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, B1, and B2. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion.
You make a motion, second it. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. All right, we need to read our resolution on page 43. Ms. Gonzalo, you walked in. Would you like to do that for us? Lucky you. Got it.
44. Okay.
44. Okay.
Whereas National Law Enforcement Appreciation Day is celebrated throughout the United States on January 9th, 2020, and whereas 780,000 law enforcement officers across the country put on a badge not knowing what dangers they may face in the line of duty, and whereas Lamar CISD is the proud home of many dedicated law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line to keep our community safe, and whereas law enforcement officers play an integral part in our society and are guardians of our way of life, and whereas we appreciate the extraordinary efforts and sacrifices made by officers and their family members on a daily basis in order to protect our schools, workplaces, roadways, and homes. Therefore, be it resolved that the trustees of Lamar Consolidated Independent School District declare January 9th, 2020 as Law Enforcement Appreciation Day in the Lamar Consolidated Independent School District. Adopted this 19th day of December 2019 by the Board of Trustees.
Thank you very much. All right, we will go forward with our pulled agenda items. We pulled number 3. We need to, though, make a motion so that we can discuss it. So do I have a, that's on page 27. Yes. All right. Can I have a motion to approve the second reading of the Localized Policy Manual Update 113? You make a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All right, I think we have some discussion about a couple of the policies.
I do, Madam President, just on one of the policies. So it's on page 195 of last month's board book. It's policy CRB, and I can just read it.
Where is it on this one? Let's see.
It just has the explanatory notes.
I know, but
it's CRB.
32.
Okay. 32, CRB. It's the insurance and annuities management. Is that the one? Okay.
So the policy is to be deleted, and it reads, the district shall purchase insurance as provided in CRB legal to fund the cost of litigation to protect the district, its employees, and trustees who are exposed to individual liability by virtue of their official duties. In addition, the district shall purchase insurance to protect the district employees from liability under the Tort Claims Act. So speaking with Dr. Randall, we have this policy in place currently. I just don't see a reason to delete this from the official board policy. This is our governing document. It's what the board deems is important enough to put in writing and give a mandate to the district. I think that it would be wise for us to keep this policy to ensure that not only the district but also folks that are sitting up here in the Board of Trustees are protected from any potential litigation. So I would recommend that we keep this particular provision.
So what was the reasoning again of why they deleted it? Was it in a different location or?
So the explanatory note said that this is something that is addressed in our annual budget process, and so there's no reason for us to have a separate board policy on it. However, we generally don't dig deep enough in the budget process to get into the weeds like that, so I think it is necessary for us to continue to keep it in the board.
So it's not
policy.
that they were getting rid of the insurance, that's just the fact that the wording is not in the actual local so that someone can find it easily. Is that your concern?
Just to protect.
Well, no, I basically, I want to keep this as the official policy of this
No,
board.
I know, but
that
what you're saying is if we were to delete it, then someone who was trying to find that information,
It wouldn't be there.
it wouldn't be there.
It would not be there.
That's what your concern is.
There would be no mandate on the district to provide that insurance, is my understanding. I don't believe the district would get rid of that insurance, but the board would not be mandating the district to keep that insurance on the books.
And the explanatory notes also say that these decisions are typically made during the budget process. That means they normally are made, but they don't have to be made. And
So this would ensure that we would be
that word
keeping
can
this.
drop at some point in the future.
We're looking over it, Rick.
Yeah,
How do
that's
we
it.
then?
Hey, Rick.
I think to amend a motion.
I would move to amend the motion to approve Localized Policy Manual Update 113 with the exception of policy CRB local, which I would ask to be tabled. So
Okay.
my amendment is to approve everything except for CRB local, allow us to table it, get back with TASB, get with Rick, and then bring it back up at a
Okay,
future
and I
meeting.
think we have another one that we might want to tag along with that.
Yeah, it's CI local.
It's CR local?
CI local.
31.
And this has to do with the phrase district personal property. And Dr. Randall reached out to Mr. Morris, and Mr. Morris sent back a very detailed legal note explaining the wording on that. And I'm sitting there reading it this afternoon, and I thought, we need a lawyer to interpret the word personal, and this is a local policy, not a legal policy, that we should put that in more layman's terms, or at least put a parenthesis there and explain it a little bit. So I'm asking that we pull that one as well.
So, table it, yes. So then we should have amendment to the, or we can do it two ways. We could,
You could do them each separately.
right,
So, Madam Chair, you have two different motions to
Correct.
amend essentially. If it is the will of Mr. Welch and Mr. Hunt, and you have consensus of the board, you can consolidate it all for purpose of one motion, that you approve this action item for policy updates 113 with the exception of the two policies listed, those two policies being tabled until next month's meeting so that their suggested policy changes could be considered by TASB's policy review and legal, and then those presented back in the month of January.
so we need an amendment to the motion.
Well, I think you have it if they essentially consent, but you need a second.
Okay,
I'll second.
and you second. So we vote on the amendment, and then we go back and vote on the.
That's correct.
Okay.
Did you all consent?
Yes,
Okay.
That's what,
I'm consenting now.
okay. So, we have a motion to amend the approval of the,
May I have a motion to approve,
the tabling,
no.
no,
You have a motion to approve policy update 13 with the exception of,
okay, we can put it all together.
All right.
So we have a motion to approve policy update 113 with the exception of CRB local and CI local,
Which will be tabled
which
till
will be
next
tabled
month.
till the January meeting.
Yes.
All right. And do I second?
now you get a second.
Now I get a second. There's a second. All right, so let's vote.
Well, you already had a
Already had a
second.
second. Let's have another second.
There's
a,
Third.
You only need one.
okay. No, but he didn't want to count this because he was already second. Okay. So, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now we need to go back to the other, or does that take care of it all?
Took care of everything.
Yay. Okay, that's what I thought, but it's making sure we're doing all the steps. Okay, now let's move forward to action on a board meeting video. Do I have, wait, we really can't make, we can make a motion, but we need a motion of what we want to approve. Okay, so I'll let you go.
Madam President, I would make a motion to approve the live production board meeting video option as laid out on page 46.
Second.
We have a motion to approve live production, and we have a second. Do we have discussion? Go ahead.
For discussion.
Discussion.
Just a question.
Yes.
I'm just concerned that it's requiring additional duties for these employees, and I'm not sure it's going to cost some extra money, and I have a feeling it's going to be more than that $9,000. Anybody looked into this overall?
Yes, ma'am. So the board meeting video options found on page 46, we got with both our technology services department and our community relations department and looked at what we had in place and some different options that were on the market in terms of trying to potentially upgrade. And so you'd see the live streaming option, post-production, live production, outsourcing. And so based upon quotes with vendors in the market, that's how we created the different pricing models. So I do feel like what you see in the board book as compared to market should be fairly similar.
And the extra duties, I mean, how much more are we asking someone else to put their time in?
So currently what happens is that we record the board meeting with the camera in the back of the room, and then technology services downloads that video file and hands it over to an editor in the community relations department. And then he'll take that video, download it into an editing software. He'll add the title slide referencing the date and time of the meeting or workshop, and then fade the beginning and the end of the video out, and then we'll post that on our district-wide YouTube channel. And that probably takes just the downloading and different things probably might take 3 hours of time during a work day that would be attributed to just finalizing the board meeting video. And that's the typical process now. In this case, the individual would come to the board meeting, and they would have a laptop, and it would have basically keys that are designed to switch between, toggle between different camera angles and the computer. And that would be recorded in real time, and then when the meeting was over, it would be uploaded to the YouTube channel. So it would require the individual to attend the board meeting and the board workshop and do it live.
So would that staff member be paid extra, some kind of stipend or something for coming to the meeting?
It's a salaried employee, but
We're asking.
Is that what you're?
That's what my concern is. Yeah, we're asking for another individual. And when I look at the live streaming, it seemed that we did not need that employee for the extra time that he's going to have to put in besides coming to the meetings, setting up 3 hours, 4 hours, then that's 2 meetings. That's basically 8 hours.
But he would not have to spend the 3 hours the next day. Is that correct?
That's correct.
he wouldn't have to spend his time during the workday working on the board meeting video because it would occur in real time.
So maybe the superintendent could let that individual come in 2 hours late on meeting dates.
And I'm just going to ask, what is your what would you like to see? I'm going to put you on the spot. Of the two, the live streaming.
I think the main thing is that, after House Bill 283 wanted to be compliant with the law, and I think that if you look at different school districts across the state, there are many different options, and we are compliant. But certainly, viewing the back of my head right now on camera, I'm sure it's not the best angle. I feel like if it's the board's desire to have some different angles, to see the speaker, to see the presentation in real time, it would not be difficult to implement that technology, and it would only require an individual to come to the meeting and do it. So I feel like really access to board meeting is really at the pleasure of the board, and we're more than happy to comply with the request.
Okay, we talked about the other day, live streaming and live production. Can you be doing live streaming along with the live production?
Yes, so we can do live streaming in any option, and it was just broken out so it was clear. We could live stream the current camera angle now if necessary.
Okay, so, because I like the idea of live streaming along with the live production, but we don't have to put that in the...
Correct. If the board requested that we live stream the workshops and meetings, we would just do that.
And it just doesn't...
No, go ahead.
No, it just says it wouldn't require additional duties of a current employee on live streaming.
But you still wouldn't have, if you don't put the other cameras in.
The ability.
You wouldn't have the ability to.
That person would be here just waiting for the meeting to end and then stop live streaming.
First, where would it be streamed live?
On our YouTube channel, which would actually be a link on our website. So if you've ever gone to the graduation page on our website, we use our YouTube channel and we live stream all of our district graduations. And so on the board page or a designated page on the main Lamar CISD website, we can make it clear, and there'd be a box, and we would have coming up at 6:30 p.m. board workshop and the date, and then whenever the board meeting started, we'd flip it and it would be live right there. And then it would also be saved as it currently is on our YouTube channel for folks to review if they cannot view it live.
Can we tell how many people are tuning in live streaming? I know we can tell how many people go to our YouTube page. Can you also tell how many people we can see?
Yes. So you can track the number of views, whether it's live streaming or if it's just watching it after the fact.
My biggest concern is not necessarily the live streaming, but I do favor that because you said at the last meeting that would be less cumbersome on the employee.
The live production.
The live production.
Correct. So if you're looking at the options here, if it's the board's desire to update the system and have different camera angles, the recommendation of staff would be live production or outsourcing over post-production, because that would require less work on an individual versus the post-production would be very labor-intensive, trying to figure out all the camera angles and things after the fact.
My only other comment on this is I think we need another camera to at least show the screen at a minimum. I think the speakers front, like when the volleyball team was up here earlier, nobody could see those students if they were watching the video. So I think at least one more camera in the room would be adequate to bring us up to 2019 standards. 2020 is when it actually be in place.
Well, I was kind of thinking that screen should have been behind us,
But then we wouldn't have been see it.
but we have this access. But that was another thing, yeah. Access to the,
Well, I think the only thing I will make a comment on is that our district isn't getting any smaller. We're getting bigger. We have a lot more people that are coming into our district, and they live further out. They can't make it to all the meetings. And if we are going to be more transparent and open, if it's something that we can afford and we can do, I'd rather jump on it now than come back and say, why didn't we do it? And if it brings more people watching and participating in the video. So that's my 2 cents worth. Anybody else have something to say? Well, then I'm going to call for the votes. We have the motion and second for the live production board meeting video. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye at the same time.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? One opposed. The motion carries. All right. At this time, let's move to action item A13, approval of professional geotechnical study services for various projects on page 110. All right, we have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
You make the motion to approve the Terracon for geotechnical study services for various projects in the total amount of $23,200 and authorize the board president to execute the agreement. Is there a second? Okay. All right. What is your question or comment?
My comment is I wish the two would have been separated, the high school and the orchestra. But they're not. And the other thing that I wasn't clear on until the other night was that this was part of the 2017 bond, of which I was not paying attention at that time. Although I did vote in that election as a citizen. And I feel a little bit as though I'm asking questions too late because of this. And I feel like I want to support this. I'm still not convinced we need orchestra rooms compared to band halls on the 6th grade campuses. But I don't know if any of my fellow trustees had any comments on that.
Do we have, I think we asked for numbers of how many students were participating in those programs now. Do we have any way of, because I know there's quite a few on some campuses.
I don't know, we have the number now.
I don't have the exact numbers, but I can tell you is we've added staff to those programs. And when you look at districts our size and the continuing of growing, there is a lot of interest within a true orchestra program. And starting them early is in our best, I would say it's our best option for our kids to continue to thrive. Most of our surrounding districts do have orchestra programs. And our kids are responding in a positive way.
My daughter is currently at Wertheimer, and I can, from my observations that I've seen this year, a little extra space wouldn't be a bad thing.
Yes, sir.
It's a very full campus.
Right now, we're talking about just the geotechnical services study. We're not talking about actually adding this on this. We're only approving the initial, yeah.
Yes, ma'am, this
It's already
is
been
for,
approved, so all we're doing is just, this 3,300 is getting them started.
Yes, ma'am, that's this recommended action, although design is underway.
Yeah,
to
that's
design
already
this.
being done.
Yes.
And remind us when completion of those should probably be, the end of 2020?
Well, it will be in 2021. Yes.
And by that time, the program really could be blown up. Okay. Any other questions or comments? You okay? I know. You feel like you're just
ma'am,
late to
I
the
am
party.
okay.
All right.
Fine.
Let's call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I abstain on this?
You can.
I'm
You
gonna
can abstain. Okay.
I'm not fully convinced. I might be by the next time the next step comes along, but.
Okay. All right. So have we completed all the,
Yes, and we're ready for
Action.
stewardship.
and now we're going to move into information items, and we're going to have the stewardship report. This is everything. And are they going to get ready?
They are getting ready now.
And see, this is when that extra camera would be nice. Maybe not from their viewpoint, but.
They come up close.
In December of 2013, the district started the stewardship report. The goal was to provide the board with an overview of student and staff accomplishments during the year. The stewardship report is intended to remind us of their hard work. On page 2, in the 2018 is the 2018 Superintendent SMART Goals. On page 4 is the 2019 SMART Goals. And if you remember, 18 and 19 overlapped. So the 19 SMART Goals were adopted in August of 2019. On page 6 is the audit scorecard. And all of this they're color-coded to show progress. Red, no progress. Yellow, in progress. Green, complete. And I would ask the board if you would just take notes as you go along, and if you have questions at the end. At this time, Dr. Mosich will lead us through the academic session.
I will begin highlighting some of the positive outcomes of performance documented on pages 17 through 24. Page 17 outlines the performance in 2019 that earned Lamar CISD a rating of an A, and all campuses obtaining an overall rating of a C or higher. Campuses also received a total of 86 distinctions. Pages 18 through 23 outlines the district's performance compared to the state and region. Lamar continues to outperform the state and region on the STAR and STAR EOC assessments in every grade level and every content area. Pages 24 and 25 outline the district ACT and SAT performance. Lamar had 508 students take the ACT with an average composite score of 22.3, which is higher than the national and state average. The SAT average composite score was 1035, which was an increase from 1032 last year. The number of students attempting the SAT also increased by 12%. Page 26 documents data from the GT talent pool. Overall, the program increased the number of unrepresented students by 41.3%, a recommendation cited in the operational audit. Page 29 highlights the improvement in the college career and military readiness composite indicator. The percentage of CCMR graduates increased from 55% to 69%, a total of 14 percentage points. Going on to page 30, we are documenting a 4-year 94.1 graduation rate with a 2.5% dropouts rate cited on page 34. Moving towards page 35, illustrates a total of 1,403 industry certification exams taken with 996 passing, a 71% passing rate. This 14% increase in exam attempts has led to a 4.3 increase in students deemed career ready via industry certifications. Pages 38 through 41 outlines the activities in our Student Services Department. To begin, Common Thread served over 2,000 students at our Hope on the Brazos, LCISD's annual back-to-school drive. Page 39 outlines the work of the district's family support specialists. In the fall of 2019, 2 additional family support specialists were hired to further respond to the needs of our most at-risk campuses. Page 40 describes the district efforts of rolling out the whole child safety and wellness model, which includes character counts. To align with the model recommendations, in the fall, 12 additional counselors were added in grades pre-K through 12 to lower student-to-counselor ratios. In the summer of 2019, all district counselors began the process of earning a solution-focused school climate specialist certification. This training is designed to support our students who struggle with behavior and emotional regulation, and approximately 700 teachers and 300 new teachers were trained in youth mental health first aid. 16 counselors and family support specialists became trainers and will be able to provide continued support to the district. Page 42 documents the work defined by our 5-year Lamar CISD curriculum review plan, with K through 8 ELAR and grades 6 through 12 social studies undergoing revisions during the summer of 2019. Pages 42 through 54 highlights numerous activities in the areas of math, science, English arts, social studies, accelerated language, and digital learning. Information details numerous academic competitions, applied learning opportunities, professional development, and parent outreach activities. A special note is the National MathCon competition, where the Lamar students earned 11 of 15 medals provided to students in Texas. Page 52 highlights the launching of the Summer Connect program. Program goals included educating parents on the variety of resources and tools available to assist the student and parents, providing enrichment activities to students and encouraging reading at home. Nearly 250 students and parents attended the camp experiences. Turning to page 61, under the Dyslexia and RTI title, describes our current work on response to intervention. This summer, we developed a response to intervention manual. The implementation of this process will provide students with more intensive supports through the general education curriculum, with the goal of decreasing the number of special education referrals. In closing, page 64 through 66 documents the substantial number of accolades of the LCISD Performing Arts, Visual Arts, Speech, Debate, and Journalism Department. A special note is the Foster High School Band advancing to the 2019 UIL 5A Marching Contest and finishing 25th out of 34. Pages 67 through 68 concludes the academic section of this report by highlighting the extensive accomplishments of our athletic programs. And as you saw this evening, the most recent celebration is the Fulcer High School volleyball team winning the UIL 4A State Volleyball Championship in November.
If you turn now to page 69, it shows what many of you already know, that Lamar CISD is growing rapidly. Our current enrollment is just over 35,200 students. We're adding approximately 1,300 students per year, and within the decade we project to reach over 56,000 students in Lamar CISD. In terms of enrollment growth, we're currently the 6th fastest growing school district in the state of Texas. When it comes to social media, on page 70, we're glad to see steady growth in 2019 with over 14,000 Facebook followers and over 11,000 Twitter followers. Also, our YouTube channel hit 347,000 video views this year. We also launched Instagram this year, and it now has 1,800 followers. Speaking of video, Lamar CISD began recording all of its board meeting videos and workshops in 2015. To date, 93 board meeting videos have been posted online with a combined total of just over 17,000 video views, and coming in 2020, multiple camera angles. Additionally, we posted 12 superintendent update videos, also known as the Randall Report, over this past year, resulting in over 32,000 video views. If you all turn to page 71, you'll see a brief overview of the strategic planning process that took place during the 18-19 school year. Now, this process was a partnership with the Holdsworth Center, and we hosted 10 community meetings and utilized an online survey to gather input from over 18,000 stakeholders in Lamar CISD. Now, the survey for strategic planning was facilitated by K-12 Insight, and this is the independent research and communication firm that also works on our campus climate surveys, among other surveys district-wide. And as a reminder, right now, our campus climate survey is open for this school year for the remainder of this week for all campus staff, for all parents, and all students. If you look at the bottom of page 71, you'll see that many of the posters, banners, and flyers in Lamar CISD are all produced in-house by our graphic arts department. For the entire 2018-2019 school year, there were over 2,000 orders placed in graphic arts, and that resulted in 17.5 million black and white copies and 10 million color copies for our campuses and our departments. If you look at page 72, you'll see that school safety remains a priority in Lamar CISD. During the 18-19 school year, we created the school safety department and hired the first school safety coordinator. And this year, we centralized all 23 school security personnel under that department, and we increased the number of scheduled canine inspections by 33%. In 2019, we also updated our safety drill reporting system, and all campuses now schedule and complete after-action reports in an online system. I am happy to say that all of our campuses have completed 100% of all the required safety drills for this current school year. We're also in continuous collaboration with support services in the review and monitoring of campus safety. During the 18-19 school year, we completed the installation of additional controlled access buzzers at all campuses, and along with classroom intruder lock sets on all of our classroom doors, and that totaled 4,581 lock sets across the district. And finally, if you look at page 73, we are always very happy and very proud to report that our Education Foundation LEAF has donated almost $490,000 to campuses for this current school year alone, and that marks over $4.3 million in donations from LEAF since the year 2000.
Information regarding financial operations begins on page 74. Being one of the fastest growing public school districts in the state, Lamar CISD has faced budget constraints brought about by many factors occurring at the local, state, and national levels. Despite these challenges, Lamar CISD remains financially strong. The district has been awarded the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting by ASBO International for the 19th consecutive year. And as covered earlier this evening, the TEA has awarded the district an A or a superior rating in its 17-18 financial report with a perfect score of 100 points. Next, I'll cover the highlights of the general fund operations for the 2018-19 fiscal year. Please bear in mind that all figures are unaudited preliminary estimates of operations. Projected operating results for the 2018-19 fiscal year reflect an estimated increase of about $1 million to the total fund balance, and is the result of many factors relating to both revenues and expenditures. A discussion of significant conditions is presented on pages 74 through 76. Revenues in the general fund are expected to exceed budgeted amounts by roughly $11.5 million. Of the $11.5 million, $8.3 million is attributable to required distributions from the TEA pursuant to Senate Bill 500. LCISD was one of almost 100 districts eligible to receive a property value adjustment due to Hurricane Harvey, which resulted in a supplemental state aid appropriation of $7.9 million. The district also received supplemental funds for special education services via a standalone payment in the amount of roughly $333,000. The expenditure side of the budget is covered on pages 75 and 76. Expenditures for the district's operations in 1819 totaled approximately $295 million. The additional funding described earlier provided resources to fund many initiatives and big-ticket items as described on page 76 and to resolve funding deficits in the district's self-funded health plan. A strong commitment to expending funds in ways that directly impact instruction is evident, and that almost 72% was spent in the categories of instruction and instructional leadership. A brief discussion and comparison of the 1920 budget can be found on pages 77 and 78. A balanced budget for 1920 was adopted totaling $318.6 million and includes all required components to comply with House Bill 3 and other new legislation. Positive operating results are expected for the 1920 year. A discussion of Lamar CISD's fund balance follows on pages 78 and 79. As shown on page 78, our fund balance history has trended within or above targeted guidelines for the past 13 years. The graph at the top of page 79 reflects an estimated spendable fund balance of $63.5 million. A property value study follows on pages 79 and 80. You will see that values have more than doubled since 2007, with growth of 79% occurring between 2011 and 2019. Net taxable values before exemptions total about $17.7 billion, and it's also important to note that the top 10 taxpayers account for over 5% of the total taxable base. Budgetary endeavors begin on page 81. To improve the district's long-term financial transparency, we're laying the groundwork for participation in the Transparency STARS program created by the Texas Comptroller's Office. Also, we're incorporating the use of several analytical data tools to fine-tune our estimates, and we're currently working with Forecast 5 as we begin the 2021 budget process to be able to draft multi-year projections and compare performance against peer districts. Purchasing and materials management are covered on pages 82 and 83. The purchasing and materials management staff has been notified that they've been awarded the 2019 Award of Merit by TASBO for their efforts and the application of best practices in purchasing and distribution operations. During the 2019 fiscal year, the department processed over 11,000 purchase orders and acquired and delivered roughly $4.4 million in new adoption materials to campuses. Special revenues are covered on page 83, and as depicted in the graph there, you'll see special revenue grants totaling about $12 million per year, excluding child nutrition, provide enrichment to at-risk and other specialized populations. Tax rate control and debt management is covered on pages 83 through 85. Financing major facility construction has a significant impact on taxpayers. This year, the second and final installment of bonds from the 2017 referendum were sold and closed in October 2019. The bonds with a par amount of $137.8 million were sold at a premium. Total interest cost rate of the bonds was 2.85%, and the final maturity is in 2051. Through this process, our underlying credit ratings of AA were confirmed by both Moody's and Standard & Poor's. A tax rate study follows on page 86. Over a period of 8 years, Lamar CISD has maintained a combined tax rate of $1.39 or less, and for the 1920 year, the rate has decreased to $1.32. A comparison to surrounding districts may be found in the graph on page 86.
The Human Resources section begins on page 87, which shows our applicant and new hire data for all categories of employment. Last year we had 7,500 applicants and hired over 1,100 new employees, with approximately a third of those being teachers. On the next page, you will see that Human Resources staff processed 445 recommendations to hire for certified staff. From there, 408 positions were offered with a 92% acceptance rate. The graph at the bottom of the page shows that the job fair attendance was slightly smaller than the previous year. This may be attributable to a strong economy, as other area districts and the regional job fair had similar experiences. Page 89 focuses on student teachers. In the past 2 semesters, the district has hired 21 individuals who student taught in the district. As a means of building teacher pipelines, the district is strengthening its partnerships with universities to host students earlier in their collegiate careers. Pages 90 and 91 highlight teacher hiring data. For the fall of 19, the district hired a more experienced teaching staff, with a 1% decrease in the number of teachers with less than 5 years of experience and a 4% increase in veteran teachers who had 11 to 15 years of experience. Teacher diversity continues to be a priority in the district. Minority representation in the teacher workforce increased for the 6th year in a row. Turning the page, you can see information about the teacher retention rate, which is approximately 87% and similar to the prior year. The subsequent pages provide more detailed data related to teacher resignations. Page 97 provides information about the district's performance in unemployment hearings. For the past 2 years, the district has had an 87 and 73% success rate, respectively. Teacher absence data can be found on page 98. The total number of absences increased by about 4%, which correlates to the overall growth in the district's teaching staff. Employee participation in the medical plan can be found on page 100. Both the number of employee participants and dependents have increased over the prior year. Claim cost sharing data is provided on the same page and shows the portion of the medical costs paid by the district and those paid by the employees. 2 of the district's wellness activities are featured on pages 101 and 102. The diabetes management plan experienced a 2.4% increase in participation from the prior year, and there was a 6.2% increase in weight loss through the Real Appeal program. Workers' comp claims data can be found on pages 104 and 105. Based on this information, we've identified the top cause for claims as slips, trips, and falls. Utilizing this data and audit recommendations, the district has implemented a training program in an effort to reduce the number of work-related injuries. Information about other HR services is found on pages 107 and 108. While we're a growing district, you may notice that the number of completed personnel actions have decreased over the prior years. This was accomplished by improving departmental efficiencies and streamlining related workflow processes.
The Support Services Report is behind the tab and begins on page 109. The Support Services Department was created in 2018 and consists of 5 departments: Child Nutrition, Facilities and Planning, Maintenance and Operation, Technology Services, and Transportation. Still on page 109, in addition to providing healthy breakfasts and lunches, the Child Nutrition Department is also charged with maintaining a positive fund balance. Funding for the department is derived from local sales revenue from breakfast and lunch, as well as proceeds from the National School Lunch Program. The program has maintained a positive fund balance with a 2019 balance estimated at $4.105 million. This balance is currently funding necessary improvements, including replacing outdated kitchen equipment, enhanced menu and inventory controls, and providing additional services to campuses, including after-school meals. On page 110, under breakfast and lunch meal preparation, currently the Child Nutrition Department is serving an average of 24% of the students' breakfast and 57% are served lunch. This is a 4% increase from the previous school year. Turning to page 112, Child Nutrition has started a partnership with the Lamar High School Aquaponics Lab for the purchase of produce grown in the lab. After purchase, these items are transported to alternating color track schools, enabling students from across the district the opportunity to try them for lunch. On page 113, the Facilities and Planning Department initiated the process to complete a facilities assessment. After this assessment is completed, it will be part of the overall scope to develop a long-range facilities master plan. This plan will then assist the district and community as a roadmap for future facility development in the district. Please turn to page 115. In the area of district maintenance, we currently are piloting a robotic mower program. Across the district, we have a number of detention or retention ponds that require periodic mowing and have steep embankments. If our pilot program is successful, we will begin using radio-controlled robotic mowers to keep these areas cut with increased safety and efficiency of the process. On page 116, a description is given of the newly implemented eMist program. Through the periodic application of disinfectant products delivered by electrostatic sprayers, the goal is to reduce the number of absences of students and staff due to illness. A benefit of this program would be a reduction of sub-expenditures, a positive outcome for instruction, and increased ADA funding. On page 117, in the area of technology services, approval was recently given for a 3-year renewal of the Proofpoint Advanced Email Security Program. In just 1 month of use, the program analyzed 6.17 million emails, and of those, 4.6 million were blocked. This equates to almost 75% of all emails from outside the system and assists the district in our network security. Please turn to page 123. In further actions related to network and device security, Technology Services made upgrades to our district firewall, made core switch upgrades, and strengthened our antivirus and malware protection. Please turn to page 125. In Transportation Services, 23 regular education buses and 4 special education buses were received prior to the start of the school year and were added to our fleet. We will be purchasing additional buses to be added to the fleet for the 2020-2021 school year. Finally, on page 126, the district has entered into an agreement with SmartTag Advanced Mobility to install devices on buses to provide information to district personnel and parents in real time regarding when students enter and exit an LCISD bus. Implementation is currently underway with a modified rollout in the spring of 2020 and a district-wide rollout in the fall of 2021. Thank you.
While the district expands, the staff has done an outstanding job of ensuring student performance meets the high expectations of our community. The Board of Trustees' clear direction, emphasizing sustained academic improvement, continuing financial strength, and organizational excellence remains our roadmap for success. We believe this report shows Lamar CISD is heading in the right direction. While the goals are clear, the district staff is aware it must continue to deliver an exemplary education for taxpayers at a price they'll support. With the board's guidance, Lamar CISD will continue to be a destination district in the Houston area for students, their families, and for employees. And with that, we are prepared to answer any questions that you may have or comments.
Very good, yeah.
I have 3 questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Took all my yellow stickies off. On page 17, under the academics, I'm always having trouble trying to understand this chart. Where I look at the students that are in grade 3. Okay, starting in 2014. Can I track those or assume that those students in 2015 are now the 4th graders as far as reading this?
It's not the same. Could collectively be the same group, but with our growth, you're also going to see an increase in numbers. So it's not per kid to per kid.
Right.
But yes, the answer to your question is from 3rd grade, and looking at 4th grade in the preparation, but it's also looking at the different TEKs, the different challenges of the grade level. So it's not necessarily a good comparison with this particular. When we look at academic growth and you begin to go into our STAR data, that's probably a better indicator.
Because basically what I looked at was 3rd grade reading was 82% in 2014, and if I went straight down, it actually, by the time they were in the 8th grade, if I wanted to be very simplistic about it, it was a really good indicator as far as the percentages going up?
It could be a portion of an indicator, but just a portion of that. It would not tell your whole story.
It's too simplistic,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's what I'm tending to be. Okay. I've been out of school a long, long time, so my daughter was trying to get me on these ACT, SAT, and I noticed number-wise, less were taking the ACT test.
Yes.
Can you explain the difference as to what's going on that they're going to the SAT?
We currently do not have a school day ACT program. We have a full day SAT program, and that's what you're seeing, the increase in numbers.
Okay.
Now, we do have ACT being delivered on particular Saturdays at many different campuses at all the high schools in the district for kids to have access to the ACT. And sometimes the difference in tests that they take will be dependent upon the university that they're looking at. A lot of times outside of the state of Texas, a lot of outside schools sometimes want the ACT versus the SAT. And so it's just, it's another assessment tool for college entrance. But we do want that, we are going to continue to invest in the ACT as we move forward.
I think the reason I was looking at Lamar in the ACT, that dropped, to me it dropped quite a bit, the ACT, and it didn't increase that much in the SAT, and I was trying to understand that.
When you look at taking the SAT, and then you can kind of see from other states as well as in different composite scores, if you look at the state of Texas, 2017 to 2018, they had a drop from 1032 to 1022. And so the fact that we actually remain somewhat consistent with a 12% increase is moving in a positive trajectory.
Like I said, I was just looking at Lamar.
Lamar High School, not Lamar CISD.
Yes,
Lamar
the Lamar, on the chart where it says 38 students at Lamar took the ACT, and it looks like it's decreasing. And then if you look at Lamar SAT, it doesn't look like it's really increasing that much, by 10 students, 20 students.
I can tell you, speaking from Lamar High School, in regard to their CCMR goals, they're working in towards improving that number of students that are sitting for those exams, because simultaneously you would also look that Lamar High School also increased their AP scores. And so they're focusing, there is a focus on improving access to all of the college readiness indicators.
Okay. And then page 83, my special ed. And guys, y'all did a super job. I actually read through this thing, and it was like, gosh, I could understand 99% of this. Appreciate it. On 83 on the chart, okay, the grant, special revenue, and grant programs. Are we receiving less, according to these charts, or more, or
it's very close from year to year. Sometimes you'll see variations in new or different funding or temporary funding. For instance, one year we'll have, like in the year Hurricane Harvey occurred, the subsequent year you'll see FEMA money that might be in the federal or state categories that you might only see for 1 year.
So we should, in the coming years, see probably it go up, the funding going up, rather than going down?
Not according to FEMA, but of course like for title, which is one of our biggest categories of federal, that funding amount stays pretty level from year to year, but it is going to vary based on enrollment and various other conditions.
Okay, so our special ed program, where the students have been declining, correct?
Increasing.
They've been increasing because of the dyslexia. Okay.
No, they're just increasing because they're having.
Well,
to
but
give us more.
dyslexia did get thrown into it. Am I right? Okay.
Right, but-
I was getting concerned as to, are we looking at funding possibly being less over time? Is this just a fluke, or?
Probably not, but one thing to note about this group of funds,
Okay.
The general fund, where a lot of the special education state money resides, is in a different place than this.
Okay.
You know, there are some special ed federal funds here in this graph, but probably the money you're concerned with is the special ed money that's in the general fund.
So I need to look. Okay. Thank you. And then 105. On the claims for employees, student interaction,
Yes, ma'am.
that has gone up considerably if I'm looking at the part.
Actually, the number of claims only went up 2. It's the dollar amount. That's the dollar amount attached to the claims, and so it could have been an entry that was just a little more costly.
Costly.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate.
And I'm sorry, you said student interaction. It was the number of claims was the same. It was the dollar amount. Still, the dollar amount's what you see.
The gray is the dollar amount.
The gray is the dollar amount for the 2019 year, the year ending 2019. The yellow is 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 years comparison of dollar to dollar.
Okay, well, if it costs more, then it probably involved more teachers.
No, the number of claims was the same. It could be a specific injury was more costly, like it could have required, setting an arm or surgery to repair an arm.
Okay, so
or
I
stitches.
don't look at it.
Correct.
That we've got more issues with the students.
Correct.
It's just worse. Don't say that.
But medical costs are going up.
Medical costs are going up. Okay. I appreciate y'all's time. I know I took a little extra, but this report was awesome. And overall, the safety features, the free lunches, I was very impressed. And videos, well, that's coming up. Mm-hmm. And I know in the lunch program is really, a lot of students are starting to come. Y'all are doing great with that. Thank you.
Yes.
I did have one question, but first, thank you for all the work that went into this, and it's really incredible to see all that the district has done in one place. It's been an incredible year. I had a question about page 33. So it was for, there's a chart there, or table, out-of-school suspensions secondary. And it looks like it's been ticking up with population growth, but then it went up about 800 suspensions in 1 year. That was a little surprising to me, given the wellness model and the restorative practices that the district's implemented. Do you have any idea what that might be attributed to, or is that something that you're looking into?
Yes, there's 2 specific reasons, because 217, 2718 are probably more depressed data because of Harvey. And so it skewed those particular numbers. So if it was going into an uptake, I think there was 11 days of missed school time as well, and then just what was happening with our students at that time. And so when you look at 2017, 2018, we feel that's a factor. The other piece we feel was a factor is there was some campuses that did not have in-school suspension. And we have corrected that this year to where 2 of the high schools actually do have in-school suspension as well as out-of-school suspension based upon different disciplinary actions.
Do all the schools have in-school suspension now?
The only one that does not at this time is Fulshire.
Okay. Is there a reason for that?
I would say from a staffing point is that at a time there was need, and so a lot of the administrators at that time, the principals, made choices to have in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension. I know that the principal at that point felt that there were some other methods that they could use at that time for the last 4 years or now 5. that would not. They would have rather had that teacher in a classroom, math, science, or social studies as opposed to in-school suspension at that point. But it is always something that we would continue to review.
Do they do something, do they have other things in place instead of going straight to out?
Yes, ma'am.
So
yes.
they have possibly not out in-school suspension, but other programs.
Correct. And a lot of our campuses do. Before a student gets to in-school suspension or out-of-school suspension, there is, a different disciplinary things that are levels that are happening depending upon the offense.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. Yes.
I missed one sticky note, sorry. Page 94.
Okay.
You don't want me to go back? Okay. Yeah.
My question.
No, go ahead.
First off, thank y'all for putting it together. It's a ton of data all in one spot. But just a quick question, something that kind of stood out. I was wondering if we'd attached a possible reason or cause on page 94, the special education resignation. Why that stands so much higher than everything else. I know our special education is something we've been struggling with and working on, trying to expand on due to recent events. But I wondered if there's a particular.
We have not identified a specific cause. It was a little bit of an anomaly to be that high, and that is a conversation that we've had with Ms. Mathis. And to begin to where if that becomes a trend, I think we'll see a higher level of concern. But we did delve into kind of what were some of the reasons when we talked to individuals for their resignations, and there were a host of reasons. So we don't have any single factor, but it is something we are mindful of.
It just kind of drew my attention.
I think that's kind of a concern statewide. I know district to district, I've heard that same comment.
Well, I think that position takes a special person.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of.
But for somebody that's willing to do that, to come in and then fail, I just wanted to.
And you don't know how many years they do it before they bail.
Right.
Any other comments? I too want to say thank you. I know how hard y'all work, and I know you don't know it sometimes until you put this together and say, wow, look what we did. And we do appreciate it, and it really makes us feel good, and it gives us a lot more information when we go out into the community and we go, wait a minute, we know that we're doing what we need to be doing. So thank you for your time and effort. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Well, they've settled back in. Are there any other information items that you need to revisit at this time? Yes, go ahead.
11A, number 3.
What page?
They would ask me that. 202. 202.
202? Okay. About the band instrument maintenance costs.
Yeah, I'm wanting to see what the opinion is of the rest of the board on this issue, because I talked to the president of a neighboring district school board, and he told me that because the district owns these instruments, and I think the instruments we're talking about are the big drums and things like that. Other students who are in the bands and the orchestras have to go and purchase their own instruments, if I understand it correctly, the flutes, things like that. So if you're just looking at it from an equity standpoint, it's almost unfair to those flute players and trumpet players compared to the drummers. So what the other district does is they charge the students that play those instruments owned by the district an $80 fee, regardless of how many instruments they play. And if they're on a free or reduced lunch program, it's free. There's no $80 fee. So we could take a model like that, or we could take a different model. But I didn't want to push it forward unless I felt like there was a consensus among the seventh list. Because right now, the district is incurring a $189,000 fee every year to maintain this equipment. So,
And this is equipment that we own, is that correct? Or
Yes, there's a combination of different types. The most expensive part is, of course, the bigger instruments. But this is also maintenance because they clean every one of these instruments, and some of that expense will occur regardless. This district, over the years, though, has that's why you see in some districts they have 50 kids in band, and then they come to our district and we got 250 in our band. And a lot of that is because of the ability of the kids to have access to the band instruments, and without any type of fee charges or anything of that nature. The kids who can afford to purchase their own flutes and those types of things, many of them would prefer to have their own. But then they can, if they don't have the dollars, they can have access to the district flutes because we have those available to them as well.
So you're saying we already, if they can't afford it, they don't have to buy it.
That's correct. That's
so
correct.
Is that what
but he's saying the ones that we own, if they are borrowing from the district, you're wanting to see about charging a fee for the cleaning.
Unless they're on free and reduced line.
Unless they're free.
well, that's how another district does it. We could set up any model we wanted, but let's think of the big drums that are, the marching band drums, for instance. That's a great example. Nobody's going to go out and buy that themselves. The district owns it. Is that correct, Dr. Rand?
The big drums, yes.
So if you had a student whose family could afford to pay a maintenance cost for that, it'd be maybe not the full maintenance cost, but it would be something towards relieving the $189,000 to help maintain that kind of equipment. Because right now that student doesn't pay anything to bang on that drum for a school year.
And I don't know about that, but I guess when I hear, my family's not musically inclined, so I hear things, but that I thought it was already expensive for some reason to be in the band program. Like they already pay a lot of fees to be in the band. Am I missing that?
For things other than the instruments and those types of
There's already
things that sometimes they pay.
It gets kind of costly already, right?
Right.
So like with uniforms or because there's already a fee.
Yeah, what are they charged?
Yes, some of our schools, not all of our schools, our title schools, the students in band pay a nominal fee, about $70. We have some of our band programs that have another type of fee that is about $500, and that is a participation fee.
So and what is that $500 cover?
It covers part of their uniform, things that they get to own. That's things that they keep for themselves.
Okay. So like is there a markup on those? And so that goes back to the book game program?
I don't have the answer to that question.
No, we don't mark them up.
I was just thinking like some of the booster board or things when they sell them, they add like $5 to a T-shirt, so it goes back in and then they put it back into the program.
I don't think so.
I know
think
the
it-
band, the
no.
booster funds are separate. That's run by the booster club, and the funds that are generated by the booster club is operated by the booster, but it is used to support that particular activity, which in this case would be band.
So they're already, I
So
guess.
those students that are paying those fees and also buying their own flute are incurring the cost of the flute in addition to the other fees.
That is correct, yes.
So
But-
Choose to buy their own.
in the same band, a student who plays a drum is incurring all those fees but getting the instrument for free.
Yes, and in most cases, the instruments that you're referring to that they're not paying for are the expensive instruments. Those are instruments that are high dollar instruments.
Yes.
And as the school actually purchases that, and then the students are able to use that.
Yes.
The smaller instruments like your flute, your trumpet, students actually purchase that, and that belongs to them, and they're able to take that home and bring it every day.
Right. So they're still paying the fees no matter what.
And I would assume the uptick is because we're having more students in the band now, because not only the bigger we grow, everything's going to go up. Everything, And do we see a need and we buy more instruments as it goes along, or do we only have a specific number of instruments that?
The focus has been on trying to provide the opportunity for our fine arts programs to excel. And we have, as a district in previous years, invested in that. And that's one of the things that you see as far as, and then everything is on the, like uniforms, those types of things are on a cycle. Every 3 years, 5 years, I can't remember exactly which one it is before we take and buy new uniforms for them.
Where does is this just general fund? Where does the money come from that we? General fund. And I know I've spoken to principals at specific campuses about not just band but other programs of what if a student wants to be in the dance team or this or that, and they do find ways to pay for some of those fees because some kids would not be able to participate if they don't.
Even with the band and even with the small instruments that students are required to purchase on their own, when we have students that are not able to afford it, the district does purchase that for the students.
I know we've said before what Lamar has one of the largest bands.
Cherry
Cherry as well. So, anyway. I can see.
Anyone else have any thoughts on the board?
But I guess is your main point that it's unequitable because if you want to play a certain instrument, either it's offered or it's not offered, and you have to buy it if you don't pick one of the loaners.
I think I thought what he was saying was that
maybe we need some more
information. Is that part of what
information.
you're saying or no?
Yes, but it sounds like and I didn't recognize that Dr. Randall said that the district does own some flutes that if a student's not able to afford it, they can lend out. But those still have to be maintained. So that student who cannot afford the flute would obviously not be paying the maintenance costs that I'm pitching. But for the students that can, that are playing the drum, why aren't we letting them pay a small portion of the maintenance cost for the drum? Why are we saying, regardless of that family's income, that student gets to play this instrument for free?
Do all of the funds that support the fine arts program including at the Title I schools, because you said they have a lower fee to pay, is that all from the general fund? Or are there Title I funds for our Title I schools that are supporting those fine arts programs?
You would not use federal dollars in this. This would be a general fund expense. And so when you begin to look at band competitions, and if parents they cannot afford it or we've not identified, there are a small inventory of district-owned loaner flutes, clarinets, altos, and all of those. And so I think what we would do is go above and beyond as a district because we want those kids to be involved and connected to something. From a school aspect, when you look at high-performing kids, academically, college, career, what you will see is that they're active in something. They find their connection. And so any opportunity that we can limit barriers for our kids to be active in something, you're going to see lower discipline, you're going to see higher attendance, and you're going to see higher academic performance of those kids. And so though we understand there's an expense to this, we feel that the expense helps support our academic environment and as well as the connection that we have within our community. And our bands have been quite successful in the past few years, and they continue to grow. And as we begin to look at the cost of the instruments, and we add another high school and then another high school and a junior high, those are going to increase. But again, a positive, we believe from academics, definitely positive investment of our children.
I have a question just about the total cost that these families are experiencing. So, Dr. Osagi, you said there's $500 participation fee, but that's for the non-Title I schools. And the Title I schools have an $80 fee. What other expenses do the students need to pay, if anything, throughout the course of the year?
For the most part, most of it is covered. They don't have to pay anything.
That's a lot. And they do a lot of competitions.
And then for students that are, say they're in a non-Title I school, but they're on free and reduced lunch, or they're otherwise unable to pay a $500 fee, what happens then?
They would reach out to the band director, and then they would make an assessment, and in most cases, the school district will provide. So even if a student attends a non-title school and they're interested in playing the trumpet and they cannot afford it, then the band director will make provisions with the district, and the district will provide that. We are not going to limit access to the student just because of financial reasons. And even if they are able to afford the instrument, and maybe during the course of the year they are not able to provide the maintenance cost in terms of going to pay for the maintenance, then the district also assists with that.
Thank you. Is that all the questions? Oh, you have one more
No,
question?
not on this subject.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, any other information items that we need to visit?
I have one page that I need a clarification on, page 330, under safety, school safety, where it says Safe Schools Data, number 2. It's 2D and 2E. When I'm reading it, it's not making sense. Any student who becomes a victim of one of the following criminal offenses while on the premises of the school the student attends, or while attending a school-sponsored or school-related activity on or off school property: attempted murder, indecency with a child, aggravated kidnapping. The next one was added, and I'm not understanding it. It says aggravated on someone other than.
Aggravated assault.
Where are you guys seeing that?
In black.
Right,
In the black.
Okay,
Aggravated assault.
but at the top it says any student who becomes a victim.
Of aggravated assault.
I'm reading it as saying any student who becomes a victim of one of the following becomes a victim of the aggravated assault on someone other than a district employee or volunteer.
So you're saying it should say by someone?
Now, I'm trying, I mean, how can if you're a victim,
It should say by someone, is that what that means?
Aggravated assault.
is it saying that they're being assaulted?
Aggravated
It says
assault.
on someone other than. And E is the same way. Sexual assault or aggravated sexual assault against someone other than a district employee or volunteer. It doesn't make sense to me.
Or is it the person's on the campus, but it's not a district employee or volunteer?
That's the way
That's
I
what it
understand
is.
it.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
What it is that someone on the campus is committing this, but they're not part of our district or a volunteer. It's just someone that has come onto the campus.
Okay, so if it's a student who becomes a victim of one, becomes a victim of sexual assault or aggravated assault against someone other than a district employee or volunteer.
Since this is
These two were added.
this is but this is 14, right? 114.
Yes, this is
and so this is for first reading.
Okay.
And you won't take action on this until the next meeting. We will take and pay real close attention to this so we can make sure that it's good and clear for you.
Okay.
I think they just didn't word it very well. We'll check in.
Okay.
But I think that's what it's saying. Go ahead.
Are we done with this issue?
Oh, I don't know. Does anybody else have a comment on? Okay. Oh, you have something? Okay. Go ahead.
How is it clarified?
This is for 114 under FDE on page 330. What this is just updates based on the TEA unsafe school choice option. And what this is about, it's written to say that this is how the district collects data regarding all of these things. And so it's about the district collecting data on mandatory expellable offenses, or the district collecting data on sexual assault of a student, the district collecting data. So you see what I'm saying? It's really about data collection, ensuring that we're doing it for all these things. But again, as Dr. Randall mentioned, it's first reading, but it's about how we collect data, not about those specific incidents.
So could it be a play on words instead of saying on someone? Because I was going, are you talking about the victim? Are you talking?
Right. It was saying we would collect and maintain data on a student who is a victim.
Okay. I just think it needs to be a little clearer.
Okay, you'll get it that way for the next, for January. All right, Mr. Welch, you had another comment?
Yeah, I do have another, but I don't really feel like I have a real clear resolution in my mind on everybody's opinion on the maintenance of the band instrument. I feel like I'm the only one that's interested in possibly pursuing that. And if that's so, I'm going to drop it. But does anybody else have any thoughts? Do we want to think this through some more out loud next month, in the spring?
I feel like I would need some more information about it. Maybe if there's any more information out there, but
I feel with any elective there's going to be a cost associated with it.
Yeah.
I don't feel it should be entirely responsible or even partially responsible to the student. Now students have an option. I mean, I was in band. I didn't purchase the item. We rented it. And when band was over, we took it back. The cost of those instruments are extremely expensive.
they're already
I
paying
see your point,
$500
but
a year.
no matter whether you're talking about swimming, I mean, we built swimming pools at every high school. We put turfs on all the fields. There's going to be a cost associated with whatever elective. We charge them to enter the field because there's turf there. Do we charge them to swim? We got to put chlorine in the pool. Do we charge them to use the pool?
Well, under that same argument, we would say that no one needs to buy an instrument anymore. Everybody, you want to be in the band, the district will provide you an instrument. So I'm going to drop this
I think
for
we
the
just need
time
a
being,
little more
since I have
information.
no support necessarily. Anybody? Because I have another one I wanted to get the same feel for.
I guess I'm a little confused on. At first, I thought you were saying it's not equitable because some people have to buy their own and some people don't, and then depending on the instrument. But we're not saying that everybody can get. Well, some people still have to buy it. We don't offer every instrument. Some instruments they have to buy if they want to play. Correct?
It's a little
I
unclear.
think that let me try a real simple approach to this, and I know it's not going to work, but I'm going to try it anyway. We're going to charge you $80 because you can afford it. I'm going to be able to continue to use the equipment or whatever it is at no charge. Is that what you're saying, Mr.
But it depends on the instrument, correct? It doesn't necessarily mean.
No, I think he's talking about it that if you can afford it, you should be paying something for it.
A maintenance.
If you're using one of the district's instruments.
Unless your family is in some type of financial hardship, and if you're in a free and reduced lunch program, for instance. Otherwise, it's up to the district to maintain that. I don't understand why, for the families that can afford it, why those families aren't helping the district maintain that equipment.
I guess for me, my thought was because they have to pay so much for the uniforms, et cetera, that they're already paying a cost. And then that's our equipment. And so we're maintaining our own equipment. I guess that's my thinking.
I think that one of the things that you may do is bring it back for a thorough discussion because I think you're getting ready to change the focus of the school district on fine arts programs and kids that have been successful because of it. And I think that when you start to do that and you start to talking about the dollars and cents that are associated with it, now you're changing the program and the focus. And I think that having Ram here to answer every detail may be appropriate, so that when you make a decision, it's not about just charging somebody for maintenance of fees. And I'm not interested in being like some school districts that, like I said, they filled 50 kids at a game because of the types of decisions that they've made like that. When we filled 300 kids because our kids get a chance to participate. It's not about, I consider it a huge investment on the part of the school district to provide that opportunity. I can't play a tune or nothing. Not a thing. But our kids that do, they excel academically. You talk about out-of-school discipline suspension. These kids aren't in out-of-school suspension because they are involved in an activity, and it's because we support them in every way. This district, with all of the other districts around us, was cutting elementary fine arts, music and art. This district did not do it. And I think that's why our programs are as strong as they are right now. So if you're talking about making a fundamental change to the structure, then I think you need to have Ram here and ask for every detail and get answers to all of your questions before moving forward.
I appreciate your passion, Dr. Randall. What I was trying to gauge was, do we even have a halfway interest to get to that next level? And from what I can tell, we do not. So I don't think we necessarily need to bring this back in the near future.
I think that part of what's made LCISD is that we have had these programs, and we do keep the kids in school and hopefully doing what they need to do because they're in so many programs. It's why we added orchestra rooms, because we saw a need that the kids were going that direction. And any opportunity, like I've said before, there are more just than band. There's drama. There's now they're doing broadcast journalism. These are giving greater opportunities to our kids to widen their horizon of which direction they might want to go. And I work with a person every week that tells me, because she tutors flute kids, of how many are getting scholarships into colleges. And so you just never know what kid that, even though it seems $80 or $40, it would be a parent saying, you know what, enough is enough, I'm not paying that, you can't be in band, which direction. And I would hate to even have one kid like that.
I think he said.
Okay, but I think that's the passion that we have right now, but it is something we might need to think about in the future.
My other thing is the ads on buses. There was an email sent that says that TxDOT does not keep stats on the number of buses in accidents versus the number of buses without ads in accidents. So with that, I assume the same thing would apply. There's not a consensus of the board to want to go to the next level of information and pursuing this. Is that accurate?
I'm going to say I'm not for it.
You're not for it?
Yeah, I'm not.
I still worry, like we did a few years ago when we looked into it, that we have such a good rapport with our LEAF, with our foundation, and so many people support that. I would hate to take any dollars and cents, and that money's going directly back to our schools and our teachers and our students. And the question they couldn't answer was, where would that money go that would come? And it would almost have to be a nice round amount to make it worth our while. So that's my opinion.
My concern with it is just, I mean, if you talk to any bus drivers, they tell you how often there's cars that are speeding around them, and the stop sign's out and they're just blowing past them while kids are getting out. And you look online and there's videos of kids that are almost getting run over by cars, or kids that are getting run over by cars. And like even in the ad that we saw, there was red on that ad, and it was right next to the stop sign. And so I'm concerned about the safety aspect of what that could potentially do and cause accidents. But I'll also say this and the ban thing, while I don't necessarily want to move forward with these ideas, I do appreciate the fact that you're bringing them up, and because I think discussion is good, and I think respectful debate is good, and so I do appreciate you bringing these to us.
Yeah.
And without bringing it, you wouldn't know, you wouldn't be able to take the temperature of how things are, and good discussions.
I would like to see further information on the advertisement. Initially, kind of when we had our board get together, when we all drew our pictures, and everybody's idea looked very different at the end. When initially I heard about this idea, I was picturing like a big bus with the whole writing on it, and it would be kind of just
Like
not
a moving
preferable.
billboard.
Right, and then when I saw the actual picture, and then I've seen it since, I didn't find it distracting, and with no data showing that it's caused anything, I think it would be worthwhile at least getting information to see, like you said, it'd have to be a nice roundabout number. Well, I think it's worth looking into a number to see if it would be beneficial and not take away from leave kind of thing for the district. So that's my
And not look tacky. I think some of the ones I see look
and,
very
and
tacky.
yeah, and it wouldn't have to be on. I asked the other night. It wouldn't have to be on every bus either. It could be on the ones that go to, like the further districts, so they get the most. So I think there's a lot of possibilities.
We have at least 4 members that are not interested in pursuing it, so I think that we should drop it for now.
Are we going to take a vote?
I don't
No, we
think there's a
don't
dollar
take a
amount
vote.
out there.
To
that's
see if
worth
we want to
one
pick
action.
the information.
It's an information item right now, so you don't need to take a
Well,
vote.
if you wanted to, you could
put
just
it
vote
back on.
yourself. You could ask for more information. Or
I
you
would
could
like
put
to
it
see.
on
I'd like to
discussion.
see more information.
I'm not sure how we would get that information, though, if TxDOT's not keeping track.
Not on that, but like
The financial
the
side.
financial piece, if it's
Oh.
worth, and it doesn't take away from leaves kind of things.
Well, I know we did that about 3 years ago, so there might be something on file. We did ask for some information. There might be some updated information.
Who would give us that?
Okay. Because if it's $100,000, that's like $3.
We just have no idea. So
Right,
it'd be worth
exactly.
looking
I
into.
think Joe wanted to.
Did you have
No,
something
I'm
to say?
good.
All right. Are there any other information items that we need to cover? All right. Find my cheat sheet now. All right. So I think we're going to go into closed session. Is that correct, Dr. Randall, for section 551.074, 084, 551.071, 551.072, and 551.073. The time is now 8:57. Call back to order at, my watch says 9:20. We have nothing from closed session to take action on. So at this time, is there any thing we need to put on next month's agenda, whether it be an agenda item or a information item? We're good? We're going to let them have a nice Christmas break? We're good. All right. Merry Christmas.
Sorry, with the advertisement, did I need to say anything during when you just asked that, or that's already covered?
Do you want more information in the next board to it?
Yes, I thought.
No, we need to do it now.
Okay.
Okay. So we are going to get a little more information about that in the next board for January.
Perfect.
Okay. Is there anything else? And I don't know if they have trouble finding it since it's a short period. Should we roll it over to February? But that's to be. You can get it. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year. Happy everything. Have a wonderful break. It's 9:21. Meeting adjourned.